Hey, what's up with it, y'all? Welcome to my podcast, Cold Narratives. I'm your host, Iceberg Green. About to let y'all hear some of these cold narratives. Check it out. Hey, what's up with y'all? Iceberg Green in the building. So today we're going to talk about Ocoee, Florida. It's a small town, and we're going to talk about the massacre that occurred there in 1920. A lot of this stuff gets erased, like they're trying to do. And I think this is a story in Florida. That's why we got Ron DeSantis. He's trying to erase everything, thing about history, foundational Black American history. He's trying his hardest. Let me put this in context for you. So in 1920, as usual, we were fighting for voting rights in the city of Ocoee. And we were being suppressed at the voters box as usual. And Ocoee was a small town. So it was about roughly 550 whites as opposed to maybe 260 or 70 some blacks. So it was like 2-1. Okay, so on November 2nd, 1920, July Perry and Moses Norman, two black men, they attempted to vote and encourage other black people to vote. The entire black population was in the town, and they got attacked by the KKK. You know how that worked. And one night, it was a massacre. The white World War I veterans from throughout Orange County murdered dozens of African American residents. At least 24 black homes were burned. The institution, oh man, they just went crazy. Black community was destroyed, and Perry was lynched and hung by a light pole in Orlando. Oh man, it's crazy. So before the population, there was about 500 people. After the massacre, however, there was pretty much no black people. The foundational Black Americans got eliminated, and for more than 40 years after that, it still remained a sundown town. And it was actually until 2018 they proclaimed it no longer a sundown town. So just think about that for a minute, and this is a small city, and this is always about voting, suppressing a vote, because they know how important the black vote is. But this is an example of Ocoee, Florida, of another massacre. Okay, so this is from MSNBC. So based on this content, please don't assume I'm with no party. I'm just using this content to get my point across. But check this out.
In November 1920, the small town of Ocoee was the site of the worst Election Day violence in American history. Weeks before the election, Ku Klux Klan members held rallies and sent threatening letters to white Ocoee leaders who registered black residents to vote. The Klan promised, "We shall always enjoy white supremacy in this country, and he who interferes must face the consequences."
There were headlines all over the country. 2 white men killed in Ocoee. Blacks rioting in Ocoee.
It remains unclear to this day who killed those 2 white men, but those headlines about the death of whites at July Perry's home, diminishing the racial terror in that black community, those headlines would have repercussions both then and now. Ron DeSantis was in the middle of a successful re-election campaign for governor, but he was just beginning his war on woke. And as he extended his reach into public classrooms across Florida, transforming them into anti-woke battlegrounds, we followed, reporting on the effect of his new policies. When Governor DeSantis began policing language in Florida schools, we talked with teachers attempting to plan lessons where they couldn't teach about racism if any group of students felt discomfort. When DeSantis initiated a hostile takeover of New College, a small public liberal arts school in the state, we went there. And we spoke to students and parents about the new trustees and their mission to transform the school into a model of conservatism. First, Florida rejected the curriculum for AP African American Studies. Then the Board of Education approved new standards for teaching Black history, including mandating lessons on the personal benefit of slavery and requiring that lessons on certain race massacres include acts of violence perpetrated against and by African Americans. So once again, we went back to Florida, traveling to the small town of Ocoee, 12 miles west of Orlando, where the town's own history of anti-Black violence and its residents' ability to learn about it, where that is all under threat.
Miami, Florida, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and I'm telling all teachers, as you know, I wasn't hired to teach lies. And I will never teach lies. I am not a teacher who will teach lies. Period.
Okay, so Moses Norman, he was a black farmer. And his whole thing was he was trying to gather the black vote, to get people together. And as he was going to the poll, they about 100 white dudes chased him, and he's seeking refuge, and he uh, allegedly went to July Perry's house, and allegedly July Perry was holding him there. So what happened was, while they were looking for Moses Norman, they basically bum rushed July Perry's home, and lynched him. They say that Moses Norman got away, but I don't think he was ever there in the first place. I think they're just using that, and after July Perry lynching, his family was relocated to Tampa, and a lot of other black residents were pretty much ran out and made to flee, to other states. So this became a sundown town, and as of 2000, I think it was maybe 80 some percent white, maybe 6% black, maybe 2 point some percent Asian, and 15 point something Hispanic or Latino. That's in 2000. So let's forward to 20. I think they just did another census, and it came down. Wow, let's listen to this: 79% white and 13% black. Wow. I think 5% Asian, 0.2% Pacific Islander, and 16.9% Hispanic and Latino. So yeah, this is what happened. So to me, it's still a sundown town, and they're trying to erase stuff now. So, the new generation won't be able to call them out on this stuff. Okay, so this is some content from the younger generation, foundational Black Americans, and how they feel about being deprived of history and what the steps they're going to take to make sure that they understand and know their history. But check this content out. Yeah, this is going to surprise a lot of y'all. Check this out.
The Ocoee massacre was basically like a whole bunch of black people were killed because they wanted to vote, and the white people decided to run them out of Ocoee and kill them and burn their homes and stuff. And it was just a really horrible night. And I know like a lot of students, they don't know about that, even though we're literally in Ocoee.
I learned about the Ocoee massacre through Candace. Like we were outside talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, did you know that there's a scholarship for Ocoee?" And I'm like, "What scholarship?" And she was like, "Oh, the Ocoee massacre." And I'm like, "The Ocoee massacre?"
Right.
And she was like, "Yeah, they killed all the black people." And I'm like, "They what?" I did my little research on it, and I'm just like this is serious. Like, and it's crazy how like racism goes so far.
It happens everywhere. It happened everywhere.
Like it's in our face.
Exactly. We still don't know about it, which is crazy.
I wasn't taught it in school. I think it may have been mentioned in AP US history my junior year, but even if it's at a slower pace, it still needs to be taught throughout the years of school because it's important. It is our history, especially as us living in Florida.
Even if our history is not being taught in schools, I feel like it's our obligation to read about our history on our own.
We have to do what our teachers are unable to do. Our public school teachers who are being prohibited from teaching us what is real by law. Their jobs are at stake. They're risking their livelihood.
Right.
Exactly.
Right, you can't pick and choose which ones you want and paint it. Oh, history was so beautiful. We helped the slaves. We did this. We're such glamorous people. No, you killed people. You massacred people. You took people from their homes. And that's like that. That's the hard truth. Like it hurts. Like it hurts. It really does because again, people still have wounds. Like the Ocoee massacre. You have the great grandchildren surviving, recalling the times of like it's trauma. But we have to heal as a nation. But we can't heal as a nation if there's.
We don't know.
Right.
And if you don't acknowledge the past, it's kind of history is going to keep on repeating itself. So we have to stop now.
So as you can see, this new generation, they not feeling it. They not feeling it. And and this is rightfully so. No one wants to suppress information that's critical to them understanding their upbringing and the perseverance, the endurance, the power, the strength as a people that we have. But when you suppress that and tell them that all we were slaves and we benefited from being put in chains, you're telling the world, like, continue to do this. This is what they like. And come on, man, y'all, you have to be honest. White supremacy with yourself. You done took it overboard. And it's about time that you run it in, run that check in and run these policies in and get all these initiatives on a ballot hate crime bill. It's time for you to run it in based on all this stuff you've done. This is just one over. I'm sure it's over 1,000 of massacres that occurred against black people. I'm sure it's over at least 1,000, maybe 10,000. Just think of how many massacres that may have happened to black people in America since it was founded. So this is just, giving the young generation something to fight for and to understand. So y'all can try to suppress it, hide it, but this new generation, they're gonna find a way. The internet, they can look it up and find about their history, and they can find about your history, white supremacy. They can find out about that money that they be getting for that trust fund. They can find out now. You can't suppress white supremacy no more. You got to think about it. This was one guy that was just trying to vote. It wasn't like it was 10, 20, 30, because you got to think it was only maybe 800 people in this town. They would not allow one black person to vote. Not one. This one individual got his life, had to flee and had a friend of his lose his life for trying to go vote. One individual. And shout out to July Perry and his family. And rest in peace to his soul. I just had to say that. This is real, man. This is kind of, it's to the point now where you hear these stories again and you play them in your head and you look at society and you really see how much of an effect these stories had on America. When you look at today, when you look at all the different twisted talking points that they got toward black people, saying that we degenerate, saying that we don't have culture, how they trying to steal our hip hop, how they trying to steal how we dress, talk, walk, AI. It's so much stuff going on, and it's all get around our culture. Just think about that. So when it's occurred, I believe the NAACP, they spoke out about it, but then nothing happened. They supposed to be the people. They're supposed to be the group that comes to bat for us when this type of shit happens. They're the group that's supposed to stand on a podium and say, we are not having this from no white supremacy. And I've never heard the NAACP get up there and say, we do not, we're about to challenge white supremacy. I've never heard it. And if it has happened, excuse me. I've never heard them just do a press or have these ads ran about how it's been affecting us. I don't see it. So my thing is, they're not helping the cause. So when people, I don't get all excited about the NAACP when I see them on TV and they're talking on our behalf and nothing has happened. This happened. And this happened in 1920. They were around on their watch. And you know what ended up happening? All those people got their houses burned down. They were not there to help. They didn't do nothing. Those people fled. Those people got up out of there because their lives were on the line. And what did the NAACP do? 10 years later, the population grew. 1,100 whites, 12 natives, and 2 blacks. That's what the NAACP did after that. This is how much work they put in and said, we're not having it. And this was the result. So, I mean, y'all gotta understand and don't be surprised when I get on their helmet. But check this content out. Yeah, this gonna surprise a lot of y'all. Check this out.
The black death toll from that day is now incalculable. The remaining black population in Ocoee plummeted after the massacre, and the events of November 1920 were largely forgotten. Until now.
I love the students. Every day I come to school, I come to work, I'm excited to talk to the kids. I'm excited to tell them what they need to know so that they can grow and make this country better. But they won't meet a lot of kids. They want us to ignore African history prior to the slave trade. They want us to try to hide Florida's ugly legislative history. And I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. I will not, in my classroom, both sides lynchings. It's not gonna happen.
And if I'm not mistaken, that city in particular was when the turnpike in Florida, and they were starting to build those railroads because they were building those interstates, and they needed the railroads in order to connect. You know how they do the redlining. So I think this is just my narrative, like they do in most cities when they see eminent domain type situation. When they see a city like, okay, we're about to build here, the develops coming here, we're going to build a freeway here, and they look around, and they say, oh no, it's black people here. So what they do, they organize and they run people out their city so they can gentrify it, so they can develop it the way that's suitable for them. And that's what happened in Ocoee. They seen this, now look at Orlando, Walt Disney World, look at the Turnpike. That's in Florida. And we would have been right in the middle of that. Our city would have been right there able to thrive economically if we were still there, but we're not. And the people are there are reaping the benefits of a lot of stuff we built from the railroads. And I'm sure we built a lot of other stuff on there. I don't have anything factual, but I'm sure based on my narrative. But yeah, with that being said, this is another atrocity, man. And people need to realize this now. It's no longer being able to put a veil, excuse me. You can't do it anymore. You can't cover this up. And the more you try to push it away from these history books, the more people are going to want to know, kids specifically, I want to know, why is this content like explicit or X-rated? It's like some stuff I can't watch on TV. What's going on here? And most people are going, especially this younger generation, they want to know so bad. So they're going to look. And a lot of them are not, they're not feeling it. They're not, understanding. Well, actually, they are understanding. Excuse me. They're understanding why the system is doing this now. The younger generation, like, man, the dominant society and white supremacy were just flat out wrong. And even, all other races, they're starting to realize this. And, even I'm in Northern California. And a lot of the schools out here, we got a lot of foundational Black Americans out here that still want their kids to know the history and still doing it at home, because that's where it's at. If you can't, get it at school, you get it at home. And that's what we got to do. So I'm giving y'all this story just so y'all can understand. This is going on all across America. It has been going on for over 100 years, 400 years. We can just go all the way back. But we just going to go 100 years back. And just imagine 100 years back, that's where we were. This story right here in Ocoee. And 100 years later, look at the murders, look at the police brutality, look at the hate. We don't have a hate crime bill, but we're the most hated. Look at the disproportionate incarceration rate, recidivism. And they say we're supposed to come back, and reenter this the community with pro-social behavior, but there's not really too many opportunities once you put your foot back on that pavement in society. The options are get it how you live. That's the option. We don't have anything for you because, I think these programs that they create are not geared to give you all the resources and tools you need to succeed. They're there to confuse you. Like, if I go about it this way, this is the way the system told me to go about it's going to work. Nah, man. Nah, get out that way of thinking, my brothers and sisters. We've been had the blueprint. We foundational Black Americans. We done made it this far. And we going to keep making it. So don't get discouraged. When you hear stories about this, tell your kids about it and let them know that when a little white supremacist friend try to play with them, bring this story up. And you say, yeah, this is why I have an issue. Just give your kids this game. They need to know about their history, their culture, and you're the one to give it to them, foundational Black Americans, and like, let me stop. If you're Hispanic, if you're white, if you're Asian, and you care about my people, teach your kids about it. If, like I said, if you're white, Asian, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, whatever nationality, teach your kids about our history. Because if you were in our position and you were oppressed, systematically oppressed, you would want your kids to know what you went through. We went through that. And it's a fact. It's factual. You can try to slice and dice and erase stuff out the history book. But one thing I will say, you cannot tell white American history without bringing the atrocities that they committed against Blacks and all other races. You cannot talk about white history, American history, without bringing up all the atrocities the dominant society and the founding fathers of America have committed. You can't put a veil on that. Okay, so this right here, which brings me to the NAACP. I had to go in on them. They've been around for over 100 years plus. Now, I want to see, what you got to think about this. So, like I told you, let's put this all in context. So back in the day, 1920, sundown town. NAACP was around. What did they do? They put out a newsletter, news report, like they always do. No action. And you know what happened after that? All the black people were made flee, in their houses and everything got burned down. And what happened? What did the NAACP do? Nothing. They continued to allow this place to be a sundown town. So blacks were not welcome here. And this goes on a lot of states, a lot of cities back in the day when it came to voting. When you have a community of people that come together and vote for the same cause, they don't like that. There has to be a mixture, some type of bootlick here, a degenerate here, op here, agent there. So they can't have people on the same code, especially foundational black Americans. They do not want us on the same code. But when it comes to them, their code is foolproof, bulletproof, and they know that, So, and I'm talking about the Diamond Society. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Just to put that in context. So right now, I just wanted to bring this story up because it's pivotal. So that's my narrative for today. Y'all have a great one, and God bless y'all. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I also want to say God bless those going through the struggle. Make sure you watch out for them cold narratives that the government trying to push on us, y'all. And to all my black people, I will be nothing without y'all. God bless you all.